This is Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur with your host, Lynn Freest. Lynn will share ideas and expert advice from people that are walking in your shoes and living their encore careers, where they want and at the pace they want. You'll start a company of one with confidence and knowledge to live a fulfilled life of freedom and ease. Lynn is a coach and leadership consultant whose mission is to show senior leaders and experts how to start something refreshing and new after a full career in the corporate environment.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Making Transitions and Creating Your Encore Life. This is where you can learn to do what you love, when you want, and where you want. You can create and live your dream. And if you're ready to get started today, please contact me at lynn@lynnfreest.com. This is episode 222, and it's how to turn your expertise into an income ecosystem that overflows with cash. I'm trying to share with you an opportunity with my friend and colleague, Mike Kim, and he's somebody who really knows how to build a personal brand business. And in December of this year, in a few weeks, he's going to host a webinar that talks about this. But I wanted to give you a bit of a preview, and so that you'll be looking forward to the opportunity to sign up for that webinar. Mike is a good friend and teacher that I've known during all of my Encore journey. I've watched his business grow up as I've watched my business grow. He helped start me on my journey when he hosted a class called Pivot that helped explain to people how to move from corporate life to independent work. And he's developed a great book on personal branding. It's called You Are the Brand. It's a Wall Street Journal and US Today bestseller. Now, Mike isn't one of these overhyped internet personalities that say they'll get you 1,000 clients and a Ferrari in 90 days. Mike shares the hard-won, incremental successes that he has made, and he'll share about the stumbles and failures that he's had, too. He's been quite open about those things. Not all has been rainbows and unicorns. Mike also helped me find those first small steps, which were key to creating my Encore career. And it wasn't about just jumping into some big complex marketing process or funnel that I didn't understand, much less couldn't implement. Instead, he gave me really concrete things to get started, things that I could either learn early or, in some sense, I already knew. Now, also, Mike has given me some tough love over the years as I've pivoted my business in new and better directions. And he's pointed out to me things that I needed to hear. So I've always appreciated that. Now, Mike is not just about tactics or technology. In fact, he'll tell you that that's not where he really wants his time. But he will develop your big why. Where are your passions and strengths, and where do they meet a market need? It's the concept of Ikigai. But it's you have a passion, you have strengths, things you're good at, but then what does the market actually need as to whether that's going to be useful? So Mike has not only worked with people like me, but he also works with coaches, business consultants, healthcare providers, and missionaries. So he has a wide range of people he's worked with and helped succeed. So I would like to recommend to you Mike's free webinar, How to Turn Your Expertise into Income Ecosystem That Overflows with Cash. And some of this is, you just don't want these income streams, and I've heard a lot of people will talk about that in the online business world, but you want an ecosystem. So how do you put this together? Things that flow seamlessly together. And it's one of those things you want to provide yourself with balance, too. You could easily go, I'm going to go set up 9 different streams and just run yourself ragged trying to chase all these things. When in fact, I think Mike was going to suggest that first you want to look at your strengths and your passion, because that's going to tell you what are the things. I have another friend and colleague that says, some of us are coaches, some of us are teachers, some of us are writers, some of us are trainers. So you think about the different roles, not your specific role maybe in corporate life, but think about what are the things you've enjoyed, because that'll help you decide which kind of income streams you might be interested in. So it's not you have to go through stream number 1 through 9 or anything like that. You'll actually, with Mike's help, I think you'll identify things that fit with what you want to do, what your current level of knowledge is, and where you might go next. Now, he'll also say, and he'll talk about, a passion isn't enough. I may have great passion around something I do that might be a hobby. It's one of those things where yeah, nobody is willing to pay money to solve that problem. And that's fine. Sometimes as you work with nonprofits or you work with people who are needing things, you're going to work in the nonprofit space and your drive and your passion may be different. But in some cases, even for nonprofits, they have to find a way to make money just to stay in business. You do have to go out. And that's where I think, again, Mike has some great ideas of how do you look for where people are actually spending money to get a problem solved. Another piece Mike will talk about is calculating your ROI. And I think he'll be the first to say this is not just about money. Some of these things, if I wanted to be a great videographer, I'd have to spend some money, obviously, on equipment, technology, have to spend a lot of time, energy on learning the skills, and I still might only be average at it. So you have to look at those things. And another way I've heard it phrased somewhat is, what's your fastest path to the cash? So again, if you bring expertise from your corporate life, it may be in the arenas you might be looking at consulting or coaching, something like that. Now you could, depending on what you did in corporate life, you could be a great teacher. So you might say, I'm going to teach people how to do X or Y. So that's one of those things. But Mike will be the first one to tell you that he'll listen to what you have to say, and then he'll say, spend money here, don't spend money there, because it won't work out for you, and it's not the right time to do that. Now, the main talking points in Mike's presentation, as he's outlined it so far, is going to be the danger of remaining a one-dimensional expert. I think it's true. And to be honest, for the Encore life, you don't want to be one-dimensional, even if you might have been in your corporate life. You want to have a portfolio life, as well as maybe a portfolio of income. But the whole thing is you want to pursue probably not just one thing, but multiple things. So it's one of those pieces where also it might be interesting to see where your passion and your strengths might find income. It may not be where you think it is. Then he'll also talk about, okay, how do you decide on what is the next or the first income stream you want to create? There may be something you do that isn't going to be your main thing down the road, but it's something that it's a great place for you to start and get your feet wet. Again, the Encore Career is about doing experiments and, quite frankly, also making mistakes. But a lot of it is just think of it, you're going to do some experiments. And again, in Mike's training, he'll talk about how to do the cheap and quick experiments that'll get you started so that you can make bigger investments of time, energy, and money later on. Another thing Mike wants to share with you is don't overlook the secondary skills or some of the niches that you worked in, because it might be interesting. You might think, oh, that's too small a group. I always go back to years ago, I ran into a guy who his business and his livelihood was helping people understand how to run their document destruction business. Now, he was the first one to tell you there's only several thousand companies that do document destruction in the world, but he was able to provide value to them on how they did that kind of work. And so he made a business out of it. So again, understand that there's niches out there, and it probably has more people in it than you think it does. The other thing is, as we talk about moving on from maybe your first step in this business, is how to scale up things. So quite frankly, at some point you may get some help, get some people to do things, just as I have people who produce my podcast. I have some people that help me with social media, copywriting. You'll find people who can help you do different things that allow you to keep focused on what it is uniquely you that you're providing to the marketplace. And there's also some, what Mike calls some force multipliers. So these are things that he can point out to you that people who are doing these things in the industry, it's the key things that they at least pay attention to, if not do all the time. Another piece is sometimes what we end up doing when we're solopreneurs or whether we're experts is we simply trade time for money. And there's people make a lot of money doing that, but it's still on your Encore life. You don't necessarily want to just put more money in to make, or more time in to make more money. You want to find maybe some things that will make you some money that don't take up all your time. So these can be courses or different things that can go on. But you want to look at that. And then The last thing he's going to talk about is look for bulletproof markets, things that are, I'll say, recession-proof. Now, that's an interesting thing in my eyes because sometimes I've often found that recessions are the time when you can actually make the most headway because people are looking for something new. They're trying to get out of whatever's restricting them during the recession. So often there's a lot of opportunity to be had, especially if you're a consultant or a coach or even a teacher. People are looking for what's going to help me move out of this downturn. So again, just because there's a recession doesn't mean you won't have significant opportunity. So again, I look forward to sharing more information on this as it gets closer to December. And please consider checking in on Mike's free webinar. And right now it's scheduled to be on December 5th, and it'll be on 1 p.m. Eastern in follow-up messages on social media and probably in this podcast. We'll have direct links that you can sign up. Thanks for that. As I said, I encourage you to look into that. Mike has been a great friend, teacher, and colleague for many years, and he knows what he's doing. Well, with an Encore life, you can be creating value in the world beyond just winning that next pickleball game. You can do the work you love when you want and where you want, and you can live your dream. And once again, if you're ready to get started today, please contact me at lynn@lynnfrias.com or find my free guide, How to Navigate Life's Transitions, or visit my website, lynnfrias.com, where you can sample some of the podcasts I have posted and see if you want to work with me. Once again, I thank you. Have a great day.